video we look at the Apollo discussions with Marcus Allen, Scott Henderson and Robert J. Williams, which is odd as Robert has always insisted his name was Bob. However, we'll only be looking at the first minute because that's all we need to show you exactly what sort of liars and deceivers these so-called Apollo detectives really are. Over to you, Marcus and Scott, and Robert.
Robert and I were looking, and we even found, just looking at some of the photographs of Orion, because there's many versions of that machine.
Scott Henderson says that there are many versions of that machine, and by that machine he means the Orion command module. Orion was originally conceived in the early 2000s by Lockheed Martin as a proposal for the Crew Exploration Vehicle SEV, to be used in NASA's Constellation program. Lockheed Martin's proposal defeated a competing proposal by Northrop Grumman and was selected by NASA in 2006 to be the SEV. Originally designed with a service module featuring a new Orion main engine and a pair of circular solar panels, the spacecraft was to be launched atop the Ras-I rocket. Following the cancellation of the Constellation program in 2010, Orion was heavily redesigned for use in NASA's Journey to Mars initiative, later named Moon to Mars. The SLS replaced the Ras-I as Orion's primary launch vehicle, and the service module was replaced with a design based on the European Space Agency's Automated Transfer Vehicle. A development version of Orion's CM was launched in 2014 during Exploration Flight Test 1, while at least 4 test articles have been produced. As of 2020, 3 flight-worthy Orion spacecraft are under construction, with an additional 1 ordered, for use in NASA's Artemis program, which means overall there are approximately 5, maybe 6 different versions of the Orion out there, but in the end there will be only one. This one.
Robert and I were looking, and we even found, just looking at some of the photographs of Orion, because there's many versions of that machine. Many designs of it to start with. But then we found one that was floating in the water.
When Scott Henderson tells Marcus Allen that they found one floating in the water, he doesn't mean that he and Robert were out on the ocean one day and came across an Orion capsule just floating on the water. What he actually means to say is that he and Robert found a video on YouTube of the recovery of the Orion capsule after its first test flight, that took place on December 5, 2014.
And it had these funny round balls around it.
Scott Henderson tells Marcus Allen that the capsule they found had these funny round balls around it. The video footage shows the Orion capsule floating on the ocean. There are no funny round balls around it to be seen. You can see the orange flotation balloons on top of the Orion, designed to right the capsule should it land nose down. On the day, only 2 of the 4 orange floats designed to right the capsule should it land nose down inflated. Divers have attached a pony collar around the Orion a few feet above the waterline, the thick black cable with straps. Divers will also attach ending lines to the collar during recovery, and it will serve as the primary method for towing the Orion crew module into the well deck of the ship. In case you're interested, Scott Henderson never mentions the Orion capsule with funny round balls around it, again.
But no parachutes.
That's a bit strange.
But no parachutes, says Scott Henderson. That's a bit strange, says Marcus Allen. And the text on their video says, the recovery crew just arrived. This view of splashdown is shot from the recovery ship USS Anchorage. There are no recovery boats in the water at this time. That's because until the capsule hits the water, no one knows exactly where the capsule will land. This image of the Orion capsule splashing down shows all 3 parachutes present. At splashdown, the parachutes are automatically released from the capsule. They fall away and land on the water. The Orion parachutes are reusable. The parachutes are recovered by a special recovery crew. On the day of the Orion test flight, one of the 3 parachutes sunk and was lost.
But no parachutes.
That's a bit strange.
It's very simple to explain, Scott and Marcus. It's not strange at all. Firstly, your statement the recovery crew just arrived is incorrect. And it's either being made because both you, Marcus, and Scott, are lying, or you're both incompetent, or you're both trying to deceive your cultish followers. Let's assume you're both just incompetent. Take a good look at the above photograph. You cannot see the parachutes, so your assumption is that they are not there. Why? The parachutes could be off to the left of the photo, or they could be off to the right of the photo, or underneath the helicopter from which this image comes. This is not moments after splashdown. The USS Anchorage was on station waiting for the Orion capsule. It splashed down. The parachutes detached, as they are meant to do. The USS Anchorage then had to sail to the Orion capsule. When it was in range, recovery crews, for the parachutes and the capsule, were sent out. During the time it took for the USS Anchorage to reach the Orion capsule, one of the 3 reusable parachutes sunk and was lost, and it's more than likely that the other 2, and the Orion capsule, simply floated apart, enough not to appear in this photo. And while recovery crews worked on the capsule, others went after the parachutes. So, no parachutes in the photograph. Reasons: 1 sunk and was lost. The other 2 have already been recovered or are simply out of shot. The Apollo detectives should be embarrassed by their own stupidity.
And then it got into a close-up of it, showing there, and you could see the witness marks where it was skidded. They probably had to push it out the back of an airplane. And you can see the skid marks up the side of it.
Like I said, stupidity. Scott Henderson is stating, as fact, that the Orion capsule was on its side, with nothing underneath it, when it was skidded, out of the back of a cargo aircraft.
15. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Green light, green light, green light. Load clear, load clear. Mission, you are cleared for a WinPack pass.
Yes, Scott, they just push Orion test vehicles out of cargo planes on their sides, and that leaves marks. Scott, you're an idiot.
Where they obviously pushed it out. And they could have been doing it for practice or demonstration to see how the parachutes worked or anything else.
It's right there behind that cloud.
Copy that. You are clear to...
It is. Get past the cloud.
3 copies. Captain on site.
Tier 9 over, start heading out to the 9.
Oh, there he is.
Captain on site.
Wow.
NASA launched the Orion capsule on its first test flight on December 5, 2014, at 12:05 UTC, flew it around the planet twice, then had it re-enter the atmosphere, where 3 sonic booms were heard by the recovery ship, before it splashed down, and was recovered. However, according to Scott Henderson, the Orion capsule was pushed out the back of a plane.
But this thing in the water did not have any chutes attached to it.
We thought it got pushed out the back of a boat.
Witness marks.
At this point, we're approximately 1 minute into the original video by the Apollo detectives called The Apollo Discussions with Marcus Allen. Scott Henderson and Robert J. Williams, and quite frankly that's enough. The video goes for 31 minutes, and it's just the above idiots talking about the same long debunked topics that they always talk about, even after they have been debunked hundreds of times. And I'm not wasting any more time going over all those topics again. 1 minute was enough to establish that they are all idiots, detectives. That's a lie.